Hi everyone, I'm Satomi and I teach bread making classes here in Tokyo. Today I'm going to show you how to make yogurt and blueberry jam shokupan. The yogurt makes the bread extra tender and gives it a very subtle tang, and the blueberry jam swirl adds a pop of color and sweetness in every bite. If you love soft, fluffy bread with a beautiful filling, please give it a try. First, let's get the blueberry jam ready. We are going to thicken it a little so it stays nicely in place inside the dough. Add cornstarch and a small amount of water to the jam and stir to combine. Cover loosely with plastic wrap and microwave at 1000 watts for about 50 seconds. If it looks like it's about to bubble up and overflow, stop the microwave early. Be careful, it gets very hot. Give it a thorough mix. Cover loosely again and microwave at 1000 watts for another 20 to 30 seconds. Mix well once more. Once it reaches a thick consistency like this, set it aside and let it cool completely before using. Next, let's get our wet ingredients ready. For this recipe, we'll be combining yogurt and water together, so start by mixing those in a bowl. Then, we need to adjust the temperature of the mixture. Keeping the dough at 26 to 28 degrees, which is 80 to 82 degrees Fahrenheit after kneading is really important. It helps the yeast work well and makes it easier to predict how long the proofing will take. Depending on your room temperature, adjust the temperature of your liquids so your dough stays on track. You'll find more details about controlling dough temperature in the description box below. The butter should always be softened to room temperature, whatever the season. It blends into the dough much more smoothly that way. Set it aside for now. We'll add it after the first round of kneading. Now let's mix our ingredients. Add bread flour to your stand mixer bowl. I recommend using bread flour with a protein content of 12 to 13%. The higher protein helps build strong gluten, which gives the bread that soft, airy texture and holds the gas from the yeast for a nice bread. Add the sugar, salt, and instant dry yeast. I like using cane sugar since it's what I cook with most, but regular granulated sugar works just as well. Make sure your salt is finely ground. Coarser grain can be harder to mix in evenly. Instant dry yeast goes straight in with the dried ingredients. If you're using active dry yeast, dissolve it in water first before adding. Once all the dry ingredients are in, give them a quick stir. This helps everything absorb the liquid more evenly. Then pour in the yogurt water mixture. I like to stir things together briefly by hand before turning on the mixer. It helps everything come together faster. Attach the dough hook and start on low speed until all the flour is absorbed. Then switch to medium speed and knead for about 10 minutes. On a KitchenAid, that's level 4. At the start, the dough tends to stick to the bottom of the bowl. This is normal and just means the gluten hasn't developed yet. Resist adding extra flour at this stage because once the gluten develops, the dough will form up on its own. Adding flour too early can make the bread dense or tough. Just clip down the sides if needed. After 10 minutes, the dough should feel elastic and slightly stretchy. Now add the softened butter. Continue kneading on medium speed for another 10 to 15 minutes until the dough is smooth and elastic. Now it's been about 12 minutes and the dough becomes smooth. Let's do a window pane test to see if the dough has been kneaded enough. Stretch a small piece of dough gently by moving your fingers in a zigzag motion and rotate the dough as you go. If it becomes thin like this and see-through without turning, it's ready. If it tears easily, knead a little bit longer. To strengthen the gluten even more and reduce its thickness, I like to use the slam and fold technique. Pick up the dough and gently slam it onto your work surface, then fold it over. When you slam it down, use the base of your hand to support the dough rather than the tip of your thumb. Too much pressure in one spot can damage it. Repeat about 20 to 30 times. When you're done, check the dough temperature. It should sit between 26 to 28 degrees Celsius, which is 80 to 82 degrees Fahrenheit. If it's lower temperature, the rise will take a bit longer. If it's warmer, it will move faster, so keep eye on it. Shape the dough into a firm ball with some surface tension. This helps the dough stretch and relax properly during the first brew, and it will expand better in the oven. Place it same side down in a bowl. Cover with a damp towel and let it rise somewhere warm until it's grown to more than doubled in size. Once the dough has more than doubled, it's time for the finger test. Dust a little flour on the center of the dough and gently place one finger all the way down. If the hole stays and you can see small bubbles on the surface, the dough is ready. If it bounces back quickly with no bubbles, give it a bit more time. Your timing may vary depending on your environment, so always go by the look and feel of the dough. If the dough feels a little sticky, dust the surface lightly with flour and press gently to release the gas. The smooth side is your top. Keep that facing outward from now on. This helps the dough hold gas better and gives your finished loaf a nice clean surface. Gently pull the edges of the dough away from the bowl, then turn it onto your work surface. Shape the dough back into a firm ball. Fold it in half 2 or 3 times, keeping the smooth side on the outside. Then tuck the edges underneath to build surface tension. Cover with a damp towel and let it rest for about 20 minutes until the dough relaxes. While resting the dough, line the parchment paper into the loaf pan. After resting, the dough has slightly puffed up and become soft. Let's move on to shaping. Gently press out the gas. Flip the dough so the seam side is up. Dust a little flour on top and roll the dough out so the width is about 1.5 times the length of your pan. When you roll out the dough, stop just before the edges so a little dough breathes up at the top and bottom. Then roll the dough at the edges side to side to create corners. Make sure the thickness is as even as you can get it. Spread the blueberry jam evenly over the dough, leaving about 1 cm, which is roughly ½ inch, around all the edges clear. Roll the dough up from the bottom, keeping it snug so it doesn't loosen as you go. Press the seam firmly to seal it. Place it seam side up and use a bench scraper or a knife to cut it in half. When cutting, press straight down in one clean motion. Don't drag the scraper or the knife. Turn both pieces so the cut sides face up, then close them in the middle, keeping the cut sides always facing upward. Twist the 2 pieces together. Place the ends firmly to seal. Place the dough into your prepared pan and cover with plastic wrap or shower cap. Let it proof at around 30 degrees Celsius, which is 86 degrees Fahrenheit, until the dough fills the pan. Don't forget to preheat your oven to 190 degrees, that is 375 degrees Fahrenheit. The dough has risen beautifully. Bake without the lid for about 25 to 30 minutes until the top turns golden brown. Once baked, tap the pan a few times to release steam. This helps the loaf keep its shape as it cools. Let it cool completely on a wire rack. For cleaner slices, lay the loaf on its side and begin cutting from a bottom corner. The crumb is wonderfully soft and the blueberry jam brings a lovely sweetness and that gorgeous color to every slice. I hope you'll give this yogurt and blueberry jam shokupan a try at home. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. New Japanese bread recipes will come out more and I'd love to have you along for the journey. See you in the next one. Happy baking!